Okay guys, we're cleaned up in here. Just have to wheel the cart out eventually, but everything is clean, floor and all. And we're just taking a peek at the heads. Now these are the 291Cs. These are a little different than the heads that Cutworm has. Okay? If you're gonna stick with cast iron heads and get as much as you can out of an iron head, actually the ones Cutworm has, which are 1974 heads, flow absolutely positively the most of all of them when you start to get into them. What's different on the casting inside, I'm not exactly sure. All I know is they start out pretty close when they test them. I know one thing, the combustion chamber is bigger. These are 51, those are 58. I know the valves are a little more unshrouded. A lot of people will blend these things out and they land at about 58. But here's the bottom line, this is what we're doing. These heads are 1 year only head, 1970 only. These are the 70 dogleg 291Cs. 68 and 69 had a square exhaust port. Very similar, but the exhaust is different. And it's not just the shape, it's the shape of the floor. This floor has a hump in it. The 69's hump the other way. So it's not just this that makes it flow, it's actually the shape of the floor. And there's actually a little boss here from behind here. When you start the machine that away, they flow worse, believe it or not. So these exhaust ports do flow very well. These heads flow, if I'm not mistaken, the best like double hump 202s that they made, right out of the box. On an AMC, they're flowing 40% more than those heads. So that's where the power comes in, guys. I could post you flow rates if you want to see it, if you're interested, but I don't really think it matters. They do get a lot of flow out of these heads. The only thing we're doing to these is, I know it's hard to make out, but you could actually see the crust line right there. Look at the shape of this. You can see where the gasket would be. We're going to clean these to start. We're going to put some machinist bluing on the sides, and then we're just going to gasket match these and maybe just take care of a couple odds and ends. I don't really want to do anything. I mean, it's pretty drastic how much you're losing on these. Like I said, I'm not getting into anything crazy on these. It'll actually just bring down the value of them, and there's no reason for that. If for some reason down the road we wanted to go all out on an engine, we would either use the set of heads, if I want to stay steel, that Cutworm supplied. I actually have another set of those heads, identical, the 50050s. Or you just go right to aluminum heads and then hog them out. And they start to get in nice numbers. They start to get into the LS numbers, believe it or not. So they did something right when they made these. I don't know, I'm not really sure what they were thinking, but they thought it right. So, and the other thing with the style head that Cutworm has, these don't require guide plates, and they have screw-in studs. Starting in 73, they took away the screw-in studs. They put the bridge type rockers, and the push rod tubes are like the size of that. So you have to machine this down. I'm not sure the exact amount, but you have to machine them all down, retap them, then run guide plates if you want to use that setup. So at this point in my life, that's just more money. So I don't know what someone had put on these things. That's not rust. That's not rust at all. That's like, it almost looks like red oxide primer. So it doesn't like brake cleaner. I just spray brake cleaner across this real quick to get the dust and grime off. Someone was in these once. There is a set of guides put in them. So I would like to press those out. Press in a set of bronze guides. And obviously do a valve job on it. And just basic stuff. If you look in the ports, you could see what's good and what's bad on these. I know it's hard to see, but if you follow it to the left side, and you guys can't see it all at all. But if you follow this to the left side, there's not much work you can do other than to blend this. The actual throat is right up against the wall. The other side has a nice little shoulder on there that should be, that they blend off right over here. And there's where the guide comes through. You blend that down. I know the heads that are in my wagon, I know they're widened up. I know the roof was raised 125 thousandths. I know they went all the way inside here. There is no lips, there is no nothing. This is all blended out. I know they blended over the guide. The guide doesn't stick down nearly as far as that, and it's all blended all around it. And I know they put in the thinner Chevy and Ford valves in it, and obviously increased the valve size a lot. So they did nice work on it. Those are 71 heads. So 71 heads look just like these. Screw-in studs, same everything. Except the CCs are a little bigger. But then, thanks to a little milling and stuff like that, I landed, if I'm not mistaken, I remember checking 11, 12 years ago, I thought it was 53 CCs those heads landed at. Something to that effect. I know when Don Cody did them, he blueprinted them. So the last guy didn't. So, but that's a different video. That's definitely a different video. So, with that said, I would like to clean these heads. I'll probably just take them to work, clean them one at a time, bring them back, just so I can work on them. You know, it's nice to work on them when I get all scammy. I'm not saying they're not going to be tanked or clean better when we use them, just so you can work on them and not get all skeevy. Then I was actually supposed to run this past weekend because the place by me that I could find the machinist bluing closes at 5 o'clock, so for me to get there right after work is very hard. And I wanted to take Junior there because they sell tools, meaning welders and, you know, all sorts of tools that you need to work. You know, heavy equipment, not heavy equipment meaning bulldozers, but equipment, you know, like a contractor would use. And Junior's looking into classes to learn how to weld, which would be great. So then one of us knows how to weld. He already welds better than me, and he's welded twice. I try. I told you guys I got a problem with my wrist. It just shakes. It twitches. It doesn't shake. If it shook, the camera would be shaking. But when I go to move it, it like twitches like this. So that doesn't help the welding situation. Either does age and lack of patience. So, with that said, there's not going to be much on this video, but this is going to be a start. Like I said, I got rid of all the Bondo dust. I hosed the whole garage down, including the walls. Squeegeed it all out. And we're back into mechanical. This is the shit I like. So, I guess that's going to be it. Let me see if I have any more. I knew there was something I wanted to say. I wanted to actually start off with it. The reason that now I have another set of these heads, the screw-in studs and all the stuff with the 58 cc. The reason I'm looking at the smaller combustion chamber is there's a chance, I'd say at this point it's 55% to 45% that we're going to attempt to run this car in the 85. And it's something I've been wanting to do ever since you guys saw that mini bike engine that I converted to the 85. I find anything out of the unusual interesting. So I have no problem trying it. It just, I have to identify the carburetor that I have. Okay, someone worked on that carburetor a long time ago. I don't know if that carburetor was worked on when it was new. And the reason I say that is I'm talking about the bigger one of the two. Now, this is where things get a little tricky with Holly. The shiny one, okay, is a 750 double pumper. Open, said, done. It flows 780 to confuse you a little more. Okay, the next step up is the 850 double pumper, which flows 950 CFM. Then there's the 950 CFM that flows 830. And when I did research on that, they claim, because I thought originally that the Venturi numbers were flipped backwards when I was trying to measure that carburetor, because the carburetor has no part number on it because the choke horn's been machined off it. And what I'm saying is I think it was done when the carburetor was new, because Well, usually when you see the choke horn machined off, you can see the machining right up to where the vent is, and it doesn't look like that. And the top edge of it is the same color as the carburetor, and the carburetor's not painted. So usually when you machine it, you could see the raw, whatever metal that is, pot metal. I don't know what a carburetor is. I know it's not aluminum. And I have no numbers on this carburetor, so I measured the bores, and it's the larger bores. They're almost straight through the Venturas. It's pretty cool. I don't think you get anything bigger in that body. So it comes up as the 850/950. But where the question lies on the carburetor is the carburetor has a double 50cc accelerator pump setup and 245 squirters. And the only combination I could find like that is either running methanol or when they run that carburetor on a supercharger. So I pulled the bowls and it's got gas jets in it. So I know the methanol carburetors, a lot of the work is done in the actual metering block. There's a lot of stuff drilled out. And I actually have all the orifice and all the passage sizes copied and written down. I found them all. So I'm going to look at it that way to see if it's been drilled out or if this thing's a supercharger carburetor. And if it's a supercharger carburetor, I'm not really sure what the difference is, other than the fact that they're about 40% more in price. And I don't think you're paying for the 2 accelerator pumps, so there's got to be something different about them. If that's the case, if I identify this carburetor, because it's a spotless carburetor, if I identify it and it's nothing I could use, I'll probably, or if it lands into those zones, I'm not using it. I'll probably just flip it and spend the money towards something that I could modify for 85, which would be a standard carburetor, actually. So, I guess that's it now.